Hi there, welcome to PDQ Tiling. Tiling is a relatively new feature of the full version, the paid version of PDQ print software. And this video will show you what it does and how it works. So let's share the screen. I've loaded up PDQ print software. This won't work on the light version. You need to have the full version of PDQ. So what we'll do on this particular video is print or simulate the print of a file that is actually larger than the size that our printer can print in one go. So that could be a billboard, for instance. If you want to print a billboard that's really large, you cannot have a printer that's, well, you can, but it's really expensive to have a printer of 5 meters wide. So what you can do with a smaller printer is divide it up into tiles. Like wallpaper tiles or like tiles in both directions, so you can actually print something that's bigger than your printer. So let's first load up a file, and we'll load up a really big file here. This is a stitched panoramic view from Rockefeller Plaza in New York City, which I stitched together from an SLR camera, and it's big. It's hundreds of megabytes uncompressed or compressed, so uncompressed is even worse, and it takes about a minute to load up on my relatively fast Mac. And as you can see, it's now loaded within PDQ, so it's loading it pretty quickly. As you can see, this file was saved to be 6 meters and 1 centimeter by 4 meters, so that's 24 square meters. That's big. So if we want to print this, it gives me an exclamation mark here, because obviously our printer cannot print that size, because this 6 meters is beyond the range of our printer, which is now loaded with a 900 millimeter, but can print up to 44 inch in this case. So what we do is we go select the file and we go to the Crop Plus feature. Now the Crop Plus feature opens up the file, and it takes a while again because it makes a workable version of the file we just loaded for tiling purposes, and we'll show that in our tiling window, and there we can set up how we want to do the tiling. So it's loaded it up now. This is the entire panoramic view, and what we can do is we can now set tiling to be either horizontal, and then we have to define a tile width, so we could do 1000. That would mean it gets tiled into 7 columns, 1 row. The last column would be the column of 1.4 centimeters, so we could actually delete that once we've created it. We wouldn't really need it. If we want to create an overlap, which would be nice, then we can mount the images on top of each other and now don't have to align them exactly. We could create an overlap, in this case of 10 millimeters, and then we would still have 7 tiles, but the last, or each tile would then have an extra centimeter overlap of the next tile. So if we're happy with the layout, we can just simply click OK, and then it would be divided up into tiles that are horizontally making up the image. So we can do it also vertically. It works exactly the same way. Or we can do it in both directions. So that means we can make this into tiles that are 1000 by, for instance, well, that makes this 2000. By the way, as soon as I change the value here, you notice that the lines here indicate where the tiles are, and those lines animate from red to black, so they're always visible no matter what the color of your image is. So you can see where your tiles will be created. So this will be the first row, and this will be the second row of images. And these are the different columns. So now we've created 7 columns, 2 rows. And the nice thing about when we now say OK is that it produces for us every tile that we need, and it adds to the tile the name of the file with a column and row number and a tile number, so we know which one it is. So that makes it easier to mount. So it now generates all those files, and it takes a while because it's a huge file, but it makes printing possible on a relatively small printer that would otherwise never be possible to print an image that's this big. Now, we created the 7 columns and 2 rows, so there are 2 tiles that we actually do not need, and we can simply switch those off. As soon as it's created all of them, we'll immediately see the white ones, the last 2 ones, and we can simply delete those from the queue. So this is our row of loaded images, and we can just select that one and delete it, and the last one. Now we still get an exclamation mark in our roll preview. That's because we're printing at 1 meter and 1 centimeter, the 1 centimeter being the overlap. So what we need to do in this case is go to settings and choose a roll width that supports the 1 meter and 1 centimeter. So if we do that, it recalculates the roll preview and it will show it the way it's supposed to be. So now you have the entire wall divided up into tiles with an overlap in both directions of 1 centimeter, and if you hit start now, it would print all of them. Obviously you need to deselect the first one because that one is still too big. That's the original. But now we have only 12 tiles selected, the 12 tiles that we actually need. And you know exactly what you're going to get up front. You know what it's going to look like, where the marks are, and each of those files will have the name and the column, tile and row number printed under it. It's a very easy way to do something that otherwise would cost you lots of time and would be very error prone if you do it in an application like Photoshop. So I hope you find this useful. This is only available again on the paid version of PDQ. So if you like it, go ahead and buy it on the App Store. If you have any questions, let me know through the support page. Thank you.